What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Notaflexion Gaming. Today we're looking at 3 different builds for the Berserker. Yes, 3. We are technically excluding Crescent Moon from this build, only because we have not tested it enough to give it a fair chance. As you can see, I've not even touched Crescent Moon whatsoever. Today we're going to be looking at Valor, Mark of the Wolf, and Lionheart. I also have a nice guest appearing in the video from Drizella, one of the better Zerks on the PC server for sure. For NA East at least, and I'm going to show you all, he's going to show off the Mark of the Wolf and Lionheart for this, and I'm going to do Gift of Valor for you guys. So let's start off with Gift of Valor. Gift of Valor, so Blade Wind we currently have at level 18, and you guys can pause it here and take a look at the actual stats of it, but I'm just going to kind of blast through this. So Blade Wind is at 17, giving us 70% chance to cause bleeding. Rushing Storm is at level 15, giving us up to 8 stacks, which means we get an additional 8 seconds of Whirlwind. And then we have Eye of the Storm, giving us a cooldown of 55% when we use Leap for Whirlwind. And then Avatar of the Storm is maxed out at level 20 for an 80% chance and crit rate up to 10%. So right now, this is basically maxed out. I would say you could probably push Blade Wind up 2 more, but the additional bleed effect is, I don't think it's really needed. At 70%, it basically bleeds every single time you hit. Rushing Storm and Eye of the Storm, they're basically just taking down the amount of time the skills take. So that's my blessings laid out for you. Let's jump over into the skills and take a look what I have going on right now. I'm a little SP poor, I would say, considering I only have points dumped into Whirlwind and Leap right now. So Leap is at 12 and Whirlwind is at 23. So Leap being at 12, base damage is 26,597, basic damage 130%, cooldown decreased by 13%. Whirlwind is at 185,752. with a basic damage of 240%, decreased cooldown of 26%. Now, just note when you guys get this up to like 25, this is going to jump up to like 270%, 265%. It's a pretty big difference, obviously. So just the more you can dump into Whirlwind for this build, the better. The reason why I'm only dumping points into Whirlwind and Leap is because Leap resets Whirlwind, and you're going to be using these back and forth in tandem with this Valor build. So let's just jump right into what this looks like. Actually, let's take one more look at what I'm currently running stats-wise. So right now, my attack's at 7658. Nothing crazy. That attack, I think anybody can reach. Defense at 5326. Critical hit rate of 20% because I'm running a Panacea, which gives me 6.5%, and a food buff that gives me 3.8. So same thing. Those 2 buffs you can get super easy to get your crit rate up. Currently my crit hit damage is at 22.2%. That is purely based off the armor I am wearing. And as you can see, I'm going to let you guys can pause here and take a look at all the equipment effects and what they're currently set at. So now onto the actual build of this. So basically the Valor build is you're going to spin to win. That's the objective of this. So it's going to be, I'm going to say right off the bat, it's fairly viable. I would say you need to really max out Whirlwind to get the most out of this build. But 100% this is viable for sure, especially if you're running crit hit food, crit rate food, crit rate panaceas and all that. This will definitely help out your skills. So let's take a look at what this is going to look like. So I always come in with a Whirlwind first, and as you can see, it's hitting quite a bit, right? You leap, and then your Whirlwind's basically back up, right? Then you hit Whirlwind again. As you can see there, I'm hitting between 16 and 17k. And then 36k when it crits. Now, as you notice, the Whirlwind gets a little longer every time I'm using these regular attacks. So if you see on the right bottom there, it's at 4.45, and now let's see if it goes a little further. I'm just gonna max all the way out, 6, 7, and 8. So now you don't necessarily need to max out those stacks, but it will increase your Whirlwind duration. So I'm gonna show you right now, when I pop my, actually let's do it like this, we'll do a real combo. So if we have a rage built, I'll come in, I'll do a Whirlwind, and assuming we have max stacks, that 8 that you saw there, as you hit with Whirlwind, your Blade Wind increases, increasing the amount of bleed damage you're going to do and the odds you're going to cause bleed damage. So right now we're at 10, Leap, same thing, back into Whirlwind. And you're basically going to be doing this over and over and over again. Some people are going to hate this, some people are going to love this build. So right there. And the best thing about this build is look how mobile this is. Like, this build is so mobile, you can literally just do circles around the boss, like so, and you're not going to get hit, and you just keep going. And you might think, like, oh, it's not doing as much damage as Lion or Wolf, but in reality, if you add up all the numbers you're actually doing you're doing a bunch more damage than you think you're actually doing. So I've added up the numbers when I'm at max stacks for a Whirlwind, and I'm hitting for about, after a full max stack of Whirlwind, I'm hitting for about 800k. Just realize that that's over a specified amount of time. So that's not 800k with 3 attacks, it's 800k after spinning for, 17 seconds. Okay, so right there, Whirlwind, Rage, and Whirlwind again, and just keep going and going and going. And like I said, the movement here is incredible. You can really use this to your advantage. Basically, you can keep doing damage to the bosses without even need to worry. And like I said, you just leap Whirlwind, leap Whirlwind. So now let's keep talking about the stacks that you build up from normal attacks. So if we're using the other combo, for instance, and you do the mini Whirlwind, it does give you more, technically, for those stacks that you're building up. But in reality, the regular combo is your best option because you're also building Rage at the same time. Now, note that let's say your leap or Whirlwind is down at the time, and I'm going to tell you right now, my cleaves do 0 damage. Like 24k, that's terrible. Same thing with my guillotine. Same thing. 17, that's terrible. You don't want that. I'm not dumping any points into guillotine or cleave for this build. Strictly Whirlwind and leap only. So like I was saying before, with the 8 stacks that I have there, if you happen to get knocked down or, beat up, I mean, not killed, but if you get knocked down, pushed away, those 8 stacks stay there forever. They do not go away. They're there regardless. The only stacks that do go away are the blade wind stacks. So I'll show you again. So we're at 8 right now. That means we're going to spin for about, like, roughly, I want to say it's 15 to 20 seconds, depending. I mean, if you get hit or bopped, yes, this is going to mess you up. And just know, your rotations will get messed up if you end up getting hit. It's not the end of the world, but, when your Rage is going, it's not terrible because you can just jump right back in and just go back into Whirlwind. Just be wary of that. Alright, so that's basically the Valor build in itself. So once again, skills I have at 23 and 12, nothing crazy there. And then my blessing is basically maxed out with 18, 15, 14, and 20. So hopefully you guys like this build. And the one last thing I never even mentioned before was the actual bleed effects. So the bleeding will always take effect. Right now, it hits for about 4,000k and crits for about 5,000k. So right there you see bleeding 806, 806. When you're raged up and you're hitting again, the bleed effect itself, they're hard to see sometimes. So it's bleeding. So 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and it crits for about 5,000. 2,000, 3,000, 3,000. And this will just keep stacking and stacking and stacking as you go. The bleed effect, it's nice. It doesn't add a crazy amount of damage, but it is nice. I will say for PvP, although Whirlwind is not CC immune, this build will melt people. If they don't see you coming and you're already whirlwinding in their direction, they're going to die in 3 ticks. Because you have the normal attack, and then you have the bleed effect hitting them on top of that. I had a buddy, another Berserker, run 40% defense armor, and it took 3 ticks to take him down. That's how fast this killed him. So I would say for PvP, it's fairly viable. If you can leap in and whirlwind real quick without getting, knocked down or CC'd, I think this could be very viable for PvP. I personally don't PvP that much, but I would say this would be a great option for that. And a huge shout out to Drizella, one of the best Berserkers on the PC community as well. His insight on the Lionheart Blessing is huge. He's going to show you to build the stacks, how to show all the crits off, do all the things. This guy's amazing with this blessing. Let's check it out.
Alrighty guys, I am here showing out the Lionheart Blessing today for No Deflection Gaming. So here are the current stats that I am running right now. The goal is to stack as much crit damage as you can. As you can see, I have 10k AP here at the moment. I was currently doing another build, but I am currently pushing towards crit damage as we speak. One of the main reasons is in Lionheart, with Beastlord's attack here, while building up the stacks, you get basically 20% crit rate for every stack. It stacks up to 5 times. So once you have all stacks going, it comes out to 100% crit rate, which a lot of people are, finally coming to the realization of the damage output with this class, and with the others, it is very great at endgame, but can suffer during the beginning entrance of the game. So it's kind of more endgame quality, I'd like to say. But overall, the base damage for PvE content for this class and this build is very well compared to Wolf and Valor. Crescent Moon is just your average tank build. Also would like to show the skills that I'm currently running as well. So the main reason you see the skills that I have here are like Leap's okay to have here, but majority of them need to be 20 or plus for the skill cooldown, which is huge at level 20. But the main majority of my points I put into were Guillotine for Lionheart build, because of getting off Guillotine is a lot better than Earthbreaker or Relentless or, you know, all the big heavy hitters. Guillotine's the easiest to throw down, but with the crit damage multiplier on top of the AP, this class is just outright nutty. And also, I'm going to show you how to properly stack these combos as well. With the blessing, you need to basically do a shock type damage to allow your auto attack attack speed to build up with the stacks. So essentially, a shock type stack will apply for a sweeping slash attack, and a sweeping slash attack will stack up with shock attack. So essentially, what I normally like to do is on every engagement, I like to leap in to build the preheat stack, and then doing a right click will build the stack. And your goal is to repeat this while trying to put in rotations with your skills. So I'll do a full run right here and discuss it after I'm done. During building the stack, if Leap and Whirlwind are down, I'll go in with this, and then I'll throw in a Guillotine, roll out, because that helps build the stack as well, instead of using Earthbreaker. And on top of that, it hits harder. Alright, so another thing I'd like to talk about too, as well as the benefits of running Lion, the downsides. So, running Blessing like this is very challenging, especially in some abyssal dungeons. Like for instance, in Depths of Corruption, the last boss pulls you into a cage. You cannot build stacks off that cage if you were running it, Lionheart in there. It's only based off the actual monsters, so running Lionheart in that instance would probably not be the best idea unless it is maxed because of the stack timer. For instance, if we look at Beast Lord's attack, I only have 10 seconds to apply the preheat and 11 seconds to get the damage off. That is not enough time to go through a mini boss phase in certain fights, for instance like DOC, where you get snagged into a little chamber and you can't get out of it unless you break the walls down, and you can't build stacks off the walls, so your stacks diminish. And if you lose these stacks, your damage is gone out the window, because I can go here and use Guillotine and I'll only do 36k a hit compared to doing 170k a hit. These stacks and keeping them up is the biggest important key rule on running this class, and with my rotation it shouldn't be a problem, but the biggest thing is keeping the stacks up, like also having your blessing at the high enough level so you don't have to worry about it. As you can see, if we go into here, Lionheart is at level 9. They max out at 10. All three of these max out at 10, and the last one is 20. And as you can see, you get 15 seconds to apply the preheat, and then 14 seconds to use the actual stack itself. So it all comes into play on what dungeon you're running as well.
Okay, now that was Lion, and now let's take a look at Wolf.
And I am currently running the same stats, same buffs, not changing anything over. Now do keep in mind that my blessing is at an okay peak for where I'm at right now with it. You got preheat, which allows you to fully charge Relentless. The two important, honestly, blessings in Wolf are beating Earth and charging Grasp. Charging Grasp allows you to use Whirlwind to reset either Earthbreaker or Relentless Cleave. And beating Earth applies your shock type damage skills, which obviously increases the damage and overall damage of all your shock type abilities. So if we go to here, change blessing. Go back now. So you seen that I was doing 130, peak at 170k with the build with Lionheart. And here's what I do with Wolf. Now keep in mind, this is the same buffs. I haven't changed anything at all. Of a laid back, chilled type of blessing. Its peak damage is always gonna be there, but its sustained damage is gonna drop off. It has the potential in certain fights that if you can't keep your stats going, Wolf is a better variety to jump to. But for peak damage output, Lion is just #1 and keeping burst damage and sustained damage going. But with Wolf, it's kind of more of a lazy Berserker build, if you want to say. You don't have to worry about stacks. It's just consecutive same damage. There's no drop-offs. And you get instant Relentless, which is really nice in some certain situations.
Once again, guys, thank you all for watching these videos. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, throw them down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. Subscribe if you want to see some future content. I have a Patreon going now as well, just for funsies. And once again, thank you all. Peace out.